Dear learners, warm greetings of the day. I am Indrajit Varadapande presenting before you the very first introductory lecture. Rather, I would say not a lecture, it is just a briefing class about introduction of a new subject, that is applied mathematics, and we will be discussing certain important formulae. Before we move ahead, I would like to bring to your notice that up till 12th standard or up to 12th standard, whatever you have learned will be nothing but the extension of your 10th standard, right? Now whatever we will be dealing in engineering is some part of 12th standard whatever we have learned, and certain new concepts related to mathematics. The name of the subject, if you observe minutely, is applied mathematics. You will be dealing in the coming years with the subjects as applied mathematics 1, applied mathematics 2, applied mathematics 3, as well as applied mathematics 4 to some branches, right? Why it is called as applied mathematics? It was in high school level or up to 10th standard maths 1 or maths 2, say algebra and geometry. In 11th and 12th standard also you segregated your subjects between the two. Now here it will be applied mathematics. All of you know that the base of engineering is mathematics, may whatever it will be or whatever it may be the subject, call it as physics or chemistry, somewhere or the other you require the concepts related to mathematics in the form of numericals or the derivations, right? So here in engineering we call it as applied mathematics because we are not going to deal with the proofs of all the formulae. Rather, we are going to directly implement the formulae or apply the formulae whichever are required for the learning of the new topics. Right? So accordingly, we will be using the formulae whichever are available for solving the numericals. Now, the second thought should come to your mind as why again there is a need to study mathematics, because in engineering it has various or several applications. So, uh, before we move ahead or before I start with my introductory lecture or introductory PPT, I would say in engineering, whatever topics you will be learning in the subject applied mathematics, you should have two goals. One is concept, no doubt. Second is what are its application, how or when it will be used, in what manner. Because for an engineer, only solution of a problem is not required. Modeling or designing of a problem is also mandatory or required. For that purpose, a sound knowledge of mathematics should be there for an engineer, and hence, in engineering and technology, we have one of the core subject as mathematics, and rather we call it as applied mathematics. So, our engineering mathematics or whatever advanced topics you will be learning in the engineering will be nothing but the part of applied mathematics. See, in a span of 2 years, it is not possible for us to cover a whole span of subject mathematics because mathematics is very vast. But whatever is prescribed uh, in the form of syllabus to us, we will be surely dealing with it. And this introductory class will surely benefit you or help you in understanding the subject mathematics with proper intensity or seriousness, and simultaneously will open the other door to think or make you think that why it is applied, how it is applied, and how I can model a similar kind of problem. And having a knowledge of mathematics, you will be surely able to solve it likely, right? So many of you must have thought that why this mathematics is there in our syllabus, why it is to be learned, who invented it. So I would say in the beginning of the 6th century BC, in the beginning of the 6th century BC with the Pythagoras. You must have heard about the Pythagoras theorem, right? So, with the Pythagoreans, the Greek mathematics, ancient Greeks began a systematic study of mathematics as a subject in its own right. Around 300 BC, that is before Christ, the period I'm talking of, Euclid introduced the axiomatic method still used in mathematics today, consisting of definition, axiom, and proof. You should remember in geometry, you have come across with this kind of terms. What are axioms? What are theorems? What are its proof? And all of you might be aware of that whatever symbols we are using, pi, alpha, beta, gamma, theta, all these are known as Greek alphabets. Why? Because the invention or the roots of mathematics lies in 6th century BC, in the beginning of 6th century BC, and mostly the Greek mathematicians were involved. Later on, that Western mathematics came to India, but that doesn't mean that in India there was no mathematics. Yes, it was ancient Indian mathematics, which we uh, know as Vedic mathematics, which later on which was later on found that whatever these Western mathematics or mathematicians through Britishers came to our country is already there or available. But the text form is the text form is a little bit different, and the notations are little bit different. And there were at that time very few people who could understand that, right? So in those days they were called as pandits. So mathematics actually has the roots in the country, or we call it as a Greek mathematics. Calculus at a glance. Now, why I have used this word calculus? Because the base of our applied mathematics 1, 2, 3, and 4 for all the 2 years of engineering most probably will be all dependent on calculus. So, what does this calculus means? Calculus is a broad area of mathematics dealing with such topics as instantaneous rates of change, area under the curves, and sequences and series. Mathematics is a branch of science. And what is calculus? Calculus is the broader area of mathematics which deals with topics such as rate of change, which the other part is area under the curve, sequences and series, and so on. So it has two basic applications. One of them is differential calculus, and another one is integral calculus. The simplest introduction to calculus involves an explicit series of numbers. It is used to, now why this calculus is required? It is used to create mathematical models in order to arrive into an optimal solution. Right now I talked about that in engineering, whenever you will be learning mathematics, it is not only regarding finding out the solution, but it is also modeling of the problem and designing a model, or rather having a design. So, for example, in physics, calculus is used in lots of its concepts. Among the physical concepts that use or uses calculus is includes or which includes motion, electricity, heat, light, harmonics, acoustics, astronomy, and dynamics, etc. Why have we taken this example? Because you are familiar with this concepts of physics, right? So, calculus is a language of engineers, scientists, and economists. The work of these professionals has a huge impact on our daily life, from your microwaves, cell phones, TV, car, medicine, economy, and national defense. Right. The fundamental idea of calculus is to study change by studying instantaneous change, by which we mean changes over tiny intervals of time. And what is good about that? It turns out that certain changes tend to be a lot simpler than changes over finite interval of time. You must have heard about the range function, etc. So, what are main important two concepts of calculus? It has two major branches, differential calculus and integral calculus. So, we will be dividing our calculus into two parts. One of them is differential calculus, another one is integral calculus. The former means the differential calculus concerns instantaneous rates of change and the slopes of curve, while integral calculus concerns accumulation of quantities and area under the two or between the curves. So differential calculus is usually associated with instantaneous rate of change and slopes of curves, etc. Integration or integral calculus is integrating Integrating means accumulating. So accumulation of quantities and area or between the curves. So the three calculus concepts you need to know is limits. Limits are fundamental part of calculus and are among the first things that students learn about in calculus, that is in junior college 11th and 12th standard. Derivatives. Derivatives are similar to the algebraic concept of slope. Integrals. Integrals are nothing but antiderivatives, right? So calculus is known in its early history as infinitesimal calculus, which is a mathematical discipline focused on in a narrower aspect, I could say. It is mostly focused on limits, continuity. It is mostly focused on limits, continuity, derivatives, integrals, and infinite series. Who is the main father of calculus? Isaac Newton and Gottfried Leibniz independently developed the theory of infinitesimal calculus in the latter 17th century. So, calculus is divided into two, that is differential calculus and integral calculus. And what concepts of calculus we need to focus as an engineer or as a student of mathematics is limits and continuity, derivatives, and integration. All of you know derivative and integration are reverse processes of each other, right? So how to learn this? In 7 small steps. First is start with other part of basic mathematics, understand the part of calculus, learn calculus formulae, learn about the limits, learn fundamental theorem of calculus, practice various examples, and double check your concepts. So no need to get scared. All if you follow these particular steps right from the beginning, it won't be a big deal for you to attain success, right? So the very first topic what we will be in short discussing is regarding the limits. All of you have heard or learned that limit is denoted by L. So what is its mathematical definition? A function f of x has a limit L as x approaches a if for a positive number epsilon there exists a positive number delta such that the value of the function and its limit is very less. So usually, see, this is a mathematical concept related to the neighborhood and interval. Not going into much detail of that. What you need to remember is whenever we are tending certain value of a function, whatever value it takes, it will be called as a limit, which is nothing but denoted by L. So we are actually finding the limiting value of that particular function, so that where it can approach, may it be from left hand side or may it be from right hand side. The limit of constant is equal to constant, whatever will be this particular value of x approaching, but this constant will not change. So value of limit will all for a constant quantity will always be same. The limit of sum of two functions is equal to the sum of their limits, assuming that their limit exists. So here we have taken two functions f of x plus g of x, limit extending to it will be separated algebraically. Limit extending to a f of x plus limit extending to a g of x. Similarly, instead of sum, I take the difference. It will be limit extending to a f of x minus g of x. Independently it will be distributed, limit extending to a f of x minus limit extending to a g of x. What when it is a product of two functions? So f of x into g of x is the product, limit extending to a is distributed independently over the product also. Limit extending to a f of x into limit extending to a g of x. Limit of quotient, that means division of 2, provided the denominator should not be 0, because whenever denominator is 0 the function is not defined. So limit extending to a f of x upon g of x is equal to limit extending to a f of x whole divided by limit extending to a g of x, provided I am saying again and again denominator should not be equal to 0. Certain properties. limit extending to a constant multiplied by function, as we saw in the very first formula, that for constant the limit is unaffected. So take k outside, apply limit only to the function. If function of function is there, so this will go inside and will be applicable. Such kind of function is called as composite function. Function of function is composite function. For a continuous function, value of limit is equal to function value of function. So what is f of x when approaching extending to when x is approaching a, or what is value of f of x when x tends to a? It is f of a. So in that case, when these two values comes out to be equal, we say that the limit is a limit of a continuous function, or a function is a continuous function. Some special limits, you might be aware of these formulas very often, you would have used while preparing your examinations. Limit extending to 0, sin x upon x is 1. Limit extending to 0, tan x upon x is 1. Arc of sin x upon x is 1. Log of 1 plus x upon x when limit extend to 0 is 1. Limit extending to infinity, 1 plus 1 by x to the power x is e. Limit extending to 0, a to the power x is equal to 1, because a to the power 0 is 1. I hope this background is sufficient for us. Now the second topic, or the second main integral part of calculus, is derivatives. What do you mean by derivative or a differential of a function? It is nothing but the rate of change, and indirectly geometrical application or interpretation of this is nothing but the slope of the curve whichever is formed, or slope of tangent to the given curve, right? Because curve का slope नहीं निकाल सकते, we can have a slope of the tangent which is to the curve. The derivative of a function y equal to f of x measures the rate of change of y with respect to x. Now what we consider pictorial representation, there is a point x, certain small increment is there in x, that is denoted by x plus delta x. That value of this incremented function minus the original, that difference is nothing but delta y, and this rate of change is nothing but the derivative when you take limit extending to 0. So this y dash is nothing but f dash of x denoted by dy by dx. And what is it? Limit extending to 0, this value incremented functional value minus original functional value divided by smaller increment, and this limiting value is nothing but dy by dx, which is derivative of y with respect to x, read as derivative of y with respect to x, denoted by f dash of x, or you can write it as y dash of x. From geometrical point of view, the derivative of function y equal to f of x at point x is equal to the slope of the tangent line to the curve drawn through this point, and dy by dx is nothing but tan alpha. If you see here, alpha is taken as angle in the anti-clockwise direction. The tangent to this particular curve will nothing but that slope of the tangent will nothing but be the derivative, and angular measurement is in the form of tan. Fundamental theorems of derivative: if you have a sum of two functions, then its derivative d by dx is nothing but the notation used for the differentiation. So if you have the two functions u plus v which are differentiable, and I have to take the derivative of it, it will be independently taken as du by dx plus dv by dx. Similarly, difference between the two functions, d dx of u minus v is equal to du by dx minus dv by dx. Derivative when we are taking of a function but multiplied by certain scalar quantity or a constant factor, d dx of ku, k outside, derivative of function of x, that is u. U is a function of x because it is differentiable, so constant k taken outside, d dx of u, that is du by dx. Product rule: u into dv by dx plus v into du by dx. Quotient rule: u by v, how it is written as v into du by dx minus u into dv by dx upon v square. Composite function, chain rule will be there. Inverse function, dy by dx is nothing but 1 upon dx by dy. How to get the chain rule? F is a function of gx, y is a function of f, u is a function of gx. So u is a function of gx means du by dx will be nothing but be the derivative of this, and dy by dx will be dy by du into du by dx. This is nothing but the chain rule, right? Because y is not directly related to x, y is directly related to u. If I replace this, it will become u. See, f of gx. What is gx? Gx is u. So y is ultimately becoming function of u. So I will be getting down the derivative as dy by du. But u is itself a function of gx. So I will be multiplying it by du by dx because u is a function of x, right? Antiderivative. Now, what do you mean by antiderivative? Antiderivative is nothing but the integration. The reverse process of derivative is nothing but the integration. So, here also we will be finding out an antiderivative of function y is equal to f of x defined on some interval is called any function whose derivative at any point in this interval is f of x. In what sense we can write? Capital F dash of x is equal to f of x. What is this capital F dash of x? It is the derivative of this particular function in some interval, and this will be the antiderivative written as integral. So integral of this f of x is nothing but your capital F of x plus c, because indefinite integral will always contain certain constant, arbitrary constant, and therefore we write the constant of integration as c. The derivative of indefinite integral is equal to the integrand. Reverse processes, f dash of x is equal to f of x. So integration of f of x dx is equal to f of x plus c. If there are two different functions whose integration is taken, we take integration of f of x dx plus integration of g of x dx. Indefinite integral of the difference of two functions is individual difference of integrals. Constant similarly can be taken outside, and integration of a function can be done. Now, to apply all these concepts of derivative integration, we should be thorough with the trigonometric formulae, right? So here is certain list of trigonometric formulae, the basic factorization, defactorization formulae, double angle formulae, combination of sum, subtraction, etc., some inverse formulae, and so on. So here we can focus on 1 plus cos A is equal to 2 cos square of A by 2. I said half angle formula. 1 plus cos 2A is 2 cos square A. 1 minus cos 2A is 2 sin square A. As here the angle is half, we are taking it as half angle formula, that is A by 2. Sin of A plus B. Sin A cos B plus cos A sin B. Sin of A minus B, sin A cos B minus cos A sin B. Cos of A plus B, cos A cos B minus sin A sin B. Cos of A minus B, cos A cos B plus sin A sin B. Sin 2A, 2 sin A into cos A. Another formula is 2 tan A upon 1 plus tan square A. Tan 2A is 2 tan A upon 1 minus tan square A. Cos 2A we have four different formulae: cos square A minus sin square A, 2 cos square A minus 1, 1 minus 2 sin square A, 1 minus tan square A upon 1 plus tan square A. Similarly, here we have sin 3a, cos 3a, and tan 3a. Inverse formula. Tan inverse x plus tan inverse y is tan inverse of x plus y upon 1 minus xy. Sin c plus sin d. This is addition, right? This is sign of addition of angle. Here it is addition of two different trigonometric angles. Sin c plus sin d. 2 sin c plus d by 2, cos c minus d by 2, right? Similarly, here we have for this sin c minus sin d, cos c plus cos d, cos c minus cos b. The remaining terms, cos of a plus b plus cos of a minus b is 2 cos a into cos b, or cos b is half of cos of a plus b plus cos of a minus b. Similarly, 2 sin a sin b, 2 sin a cos b, 2 cos a sin b. Tan of a plus b, tan a plus tan b upon 1 minus tan a tan b. Tan of a minus b is tan a minus tan b upon 1 plus tan a tan b. All are familiar with this, just it is a sort of revision. Derivative, in the first column you may come across with a function. In the second column it is f dash of x, means it is a derivative of a given function. Derivative of x to the power n into x to the power n minus 1. Derivative of log x, 1 by x. Root x, 1 upon 2 root x. E to the power x, e to the power x. Sin x, cos x. Derivative of cos x, minus sin x. Tan x, sec square x. Cot x, minus cosec square x. Sec x into tan x. Cosec x, minus cosec x into cot x. Sin inverse x, 1 upon under root of 1 minus x square. Cos inverse x, minus 1 upon under root of 1 minus x square. Tan inverse x, 1 upon 1 plus x square. Cot inverse x, minus 1 upon 1 plus x square. A to the power x, a to the power x into log a. Derivative of constant k, 0. Derivative of 1, 0. Right? So in that case, higher order derivatives n into x to the power n minus 1. Derivative of sec inverse x क्या होता है? 1 upon, here if I write derivative of sec inverse x, it is 1 upon x into under root of x square minus 1. Derivative of cosec inverse x, here it will be minus. So I hope this all formulas you are knowing very well. Some formulas for integration. Reverse process, I said, there is a, in derivative there is a decrease in the power. In integration there will be increase in the power. So x to the power n is x to the power n plus 1 upon n plus 1. Cos x, derivative of sin x is cos x. So integration of cos x will be sin x. Integration of sin x is minus cos x. Integration of sec square x is tan x. Cosec square x is minus cot x. Sec x into tan x is minus sec. Cosec x into cot x is minus cosec x. Integration of 1 upon under root of 1 minus x square sin inverse x, minus 1 upon 1 plus x square cot inverse x. See, in the derivative we wrote 1 upon x into under root of x square minus 1, integration will be sec inverse x, right? 1 upon x square minus a square, 1 upon 2a log of mod of x minus a upon x plus a square minus x square, a plus x upon a minus x square plus a square, 1 by a tan inverse of x by a, under root. Similar cases now, but with under root sign. Okay. Tan x is log of sec x, cot x is log of, how it is done? Tan x is nothing but sin x upon cos x. Okay. And accordingly derivative of denominator is present in the numerator, so therefore we get minus log of cos x, and cos of log of cos x is minus, will go here, 1 upon cos x is sec x. That is how the formula is derived. Sec x is log of sec x plus tan x, cosec x is log of cosec x minus cot x. Similarly, you can have integration of cot, sec, cosec, e to the power x is e to the power x, a to the power x is a to the power x upon log a. This is now in the numerator, under root of x square minus a square, under root of x square plus a square, under root of a square minus x square. So we have a long list of formulae which are very useful, and we will be requiring it for purpose of solving the examples. So I expect everybody to kindly go through each and every example, as we have seen very so many steps, 7 steps. We will have to follow them. Rigorous practice is required, and therefore we will be gaining the confidence that yes, this portion is completed, then only we can switch over to the examples, or we can switch over to the higher advanced topics related to calculus. So I hope this was a small briefing session regarding introduction of a new subject, that is applied mathematics, and what are its contents, and a brief summary of what you have learned up till now. So I expect, or I hope, everybody will surely pay attention to it and take it seriously to go it further and understand it well, right?